All right, folks, we're going to get started pretty soon, but I got a new setup, including a different camera and a different mic. So if you would chime in, if you're waiting, if you would leave something in the chat box that indicates that you can hear me and that you can hear me well. Ultimately, I'm hoping that I'm looking at the little meter, and it doesn't look like the sound is registering that high. Check, check, check. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, if you would, let me see. I can hear really well. Video is great too. Thanks, Roy. I appreciate that. That's what we're looking for. Tell me something, Roy, if you're there, so you can hear me okay now. Let me see if I move the mic over a little bit and point it off in the direction. So if I'm talking, can you still hear me okay? Let me know. Let me know if it's better, the same, or worse than the previous live streams where I was just using my phone. That would be helpful too. And we're close, folks. 1 minute away, and we're gonna get started here pretty soon. I'll continue to try to project my voice as best I can. Let's see, what do we got? Yes, still good. Seems better than the phone. Good to know. Thanks, Roy. This is great. So yeah, we're just about ready to get started. If you're joining me just now, welcome. This is yet another live stream class. I've been doing this for a while now. We've been covering a few different things in terms of just technique and material, choreography. And ideally, we just want to have fun. I want to be able to give you some tidbits to take with you, something that you can take and say, that's a tool that I can use and I can apply it in many different ways. That's always my number one goal. But in addition to that, I always want to have fun. So I always try to give you some material that's fun. It's challenging sometimes, but it's also fun and not so challenging that you're stuck. So thank you to all you who've been supporting this channel for the long haul. And if you're brand new, we do take contributions to cover the cost of the studio rental, and I also give gifts to Arizona arts organizations. Last week's went to Dancing in the Streets Ballet Studio. We've given to them before. And before that, it was the National Institute of Flamenco. So they've expressed to me over and over how touched they are by your support. So I appreciate you all doing that. And of course, your contributions are allowing me to rent this studio space on a weekly basis and bring this to you. So you can contribute. The link is in the description of this video, and your contributions are greatly appreciated. But like I said, not compulsory. If you're enjoying this, and it's my free gift to you, so don't feel compelled to return the favor. Just if you feel so moved, then please do. Okay, so one thing today I think I would like to really concentrate on is a strong core, and that'll be what we'll focus on. We'll do a quick warm up, a little stretch. Then I'll show you some ways to identify what we're talking about when we say we want you to have a strong core. Okay, so first off, let's take a little turn to the camera here, and let's do a little warm up. Okay, so standing up tall, we've done this many times. Soft hips, soft knee joints, long spine. Okay. Now notice one thing. This is one thing I don't think I've really covered. I kind of have. I've touched on it. If you're standing nice and long, that's great, and that's a good look for flamenco, and it's a good place to be, to allow you to move about freely, because when you have these patterns of slouching, you're not correctly aligned, then all your muscle systems are not working to your favor. But when you align correctly, everything lines up correctly to help you accomplish these very tricky things that we do sometimes. One thing we want to add today is I want you to put your hands behind your head, and I want you to push back against your hands. Now, don't do it so much that you're straining your neck, but you'll notice if I put my hands under this occipital bun, they call it here, and I cradle, and I push back a little bit, my chin is going to go like this a little bit, and my skull is going to tilt forward a little bit. So even though I'm going to keep my eyes level, I want to try this. And then once you kind of get that sensation, see if you can keep it there after you take your hands down. Now that is an even better flamenco positioning. This is nice and relaxed and it's efficient, but it's these little details like really elongating the neck and the back, which will tilt the skull forward. So I'm not tucking my chin per se, but I am tilting, right? And that's why flamencos look so strong and confident and well positioned. It's just these little details you want to pay attention to, okay? So let's keep that in mind, and let's go ahead now, and we'll take feet about shoulder width apart. Let's circle the head, nice and easy. Big long circles. And if you have any neck problems, obviously, circle to the point where you're feeling the discomfort and stop there. Don't push through something that's painful. There's a good kind of feedback that your body gives you, which is, hey, I'm not used to being stretched this much, and you feel tight, but at the same time, you don't feel like you're pulling the muscle or injuring it. They shouldn't be sharp pains. Let's do one more. I'm not sure if I did 3. Big shoulder circles. So I really want you to, now we're going to be holding on to our core just like I was talking about. So if I'm just sitting here normal, see how my stomach is kind of just where it normally sits. What we're talking about now, some people say draw the belly button back toward the spine, which I think is about right, but don't think about it like you're sucking in air. Think about it more like, if this is my stomach and this is my belly button here, I'm bending at the point of the belly button while keeping my spine straight, and I'm letting it draw back toward the spine. Now what that ends up doing, we're not talking about the six pack here. We're talking about muscles that are just underneath the belly button. So you should feel them right underneath the belly button. This is the area that we're talking about down here when we're talking about a strong core. This is what keeps your upper body connected to your lower. So like if we're doing a turn, for example, if I'm not holding onto my core, my upper body, if it starts to pull in one direction, it can throw the turn off, right? A top doesn't spin like this, it stays on an axis. The way we're able to maintain that strength is right in here. So if I'm doing some turns, before I even do the turn, I should, I know we have Lorna from Scotland. I don't know if you're watching, but I've heard them say before, gird your loins, which is like getting yourself ready, like if you were going to take a punch or something in the stomach. So that's just an illustration. That's not exactly what it is, but I want you to keep that in mind. So back to what I was saying. What were we doing? We were talking about so I'm holding on to that. I'm girding my loins. And I'm standing up tall and I'm rolling the shoulders back. Go ahead and let your upper body collapse, but don't lose this. And then as you open up, especially, you're going to feel that girding your loins is even more difficult because you're holding, and now by doing this, you're also stretching. So your muscles are having to hold down even more to keep your body from getting away, right? So hopefully that's helpful to you. Hold, draw in the belly button and roll the shoulders back. And then let's go forward, roll them forward. All the while holding on to those lower abdominal muscles. Now let's take, this will be even harder. Hold on as you reach back as far as you can get. But don't lose that engaging your lower abdominals, drawing your belly button back toward the spine sensation. And then let's go back and over the top. So right here, you should feel the core really engaging, because your rib cage wants to go all kinds of different directions based on what your arms are doing. The weight of your arms is taking your rib cage in different directions, but we're keeping it under control by holding on here. Okay. Ooh, I feel that already. I don't know about you. Here's a way to develop that. As you can find a wall or a mirror. Let me make sure this is going to support me. And walk back a little bit and plank, okay? And then bend the knees even a little bit, but keep your spine long and hold on to your abs. And sometimes even putting your head on your arms and push forward. That's a good way to find. There's something about being at that angle that will engage these if you're not used to doing that. But once you find that, your flamenco journey and the things that you're able to do will start to increase. I guarantee it. It's been tried and true through the Joaquin Encinas method, as I mentioned. Joaquin Encinas in Albuquerque, my teacher, one who developed a lot of this curriculum. So I would definitely take heed to these very basic things. I'm going to bend my knees and push my skull forward and push my body forward, all the while holding onto those lower abdominal muscles. All right? Now when you do your turns, it'll be a lot easier for you to keep from falling out of the turn. Or if there's something that requires you to stop on a dime, you'll be able to hold on here. Keep your upper and lower body connected. Okay. Let's go ahead and just do a couple little extra stretches before we get started. Stretch out the hip flexor and the quadricep here a little bit. Even during this kind of stretching, you can still hold on, right? Other side. Now, like I said, it's not sucking in air and holding in air. You always want to breathe. You should be able to breathe deeply and still hold on to your lower abdominals, okay? And then incorporate this long neck here for that nice long position. Okay, let's work on some body movement here. So I'm gonna feet together, take the foot out. I'm sitting in my left hip, and I'm just gonna rock to the other side. Let's keep your abdominals engaged. Keep your spine long, keep your chest open, and let your hips move nice and easy, side to side. Okay, and we'll build on this. Now let's incorporate a seventh position here. We're going to rotate the spine. Rotate the spine. Incorporate all those things we just talked about. Nice long back of the neck, long spine, eyes straight ahead, hips loose. Good, strong seventh position. Now let's go high. And we're also going to collapse the body, come to the other side, and up high. Just under the chin so you can see yourself in the mirror. Be your own audience. Right now you're presenting yourself in a way that you would to an audience. That's why the mirror does come in handy. I don't like having the mirror for everything because sometimes it's not a good measure of how a movement feels. So the movement should feel a certain way to you. If you're moving organically, it should be apparent by the way you feel. And the mirror is your way of checking to see if your feelings match reality. But once you get those things to match up, you're in good shape. Okay, feet together, out, through, and together. Out, through, together. Out, through, together. Out, through, together. Take a deep plie, long leg out, through, together. Bend, out, through, together. Out, through, together. Out, through, together. Now we're going to stay long. I'm going to come out here. This is going to come to my hip. This arm's going to come through, torero. And up. Foot comes out. Hand to the hip, torero. Long, nice long spine. If you want, you can take a little lean, but keep the neck long, keep the spine long. So even though I'm gonna tilt my chin down more, as though I'm looking at the bull that's passing by here, and then up, out, and up. Nice long back of the neck here. Out, up, out, and up, out, up. Always end. Nice and long vertical. Okay, good. Now, foot out here. I'm going to send both hands in the same direction. What I mean is they're not both going out and they're not both going in. They're both going clockwise or counterclockwise. So if I'm doing this movement here, and I'm remember sitting spread, crunching here, opening up here, sitting in this hip, and then as I come here, I switch. So I open up this side as I sit in this hip and I crunch, keeping the head vertical, back and forth, right? We know this much, we've done it before. Sit and spread, sit and spread. But now I'm going to have a first position, actually kind of like a second position. I'm going to have my elbows up, opening up here, sitting here, and both hands are going to go in that direction, so clockwise. That means one in and one out. So we're here, ba. Try to keep those elbows high. I just caught myself not doing that, so don't want to cheat. And let's get it out here in front of you. Make everything flow together so the hips and the body and the hands arrive at once. Bam. Now let's do the same thing, but we'll sit up nice and tall, slight bend in the knees. Ba. Ba. E. 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 On front. Out in front. Out in front. Out in front. Now from here, let's go up here, down, and up. What did I just do? Up, down, switch. Up, down, switch. Up, down, switch. Up, down, switch. So we're going up the middle, down the middle, back to the hip, and switch. Up, down, switch. Up, down, switch. Up, down, switch. Now we're going to go up, out, switch. Up the middle, down the side, 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 switch. Relax. Feet together. We're going to go from here. We're going to do 3 hand turns, or three turns of florillo. So if I'm here working in high fifth position, I'm going to do 1 out, and I'm going to come here at chest level, And as I bring it in, I'm going to do both hands in. And then as I come to the top, both hands out again. Right? And then I repeat it on the other side. So we're here. Let's work in high fifth at first, and then we'll experiment with some other positionings of the arms when they're engaged and up. So we're high fifth here. I'm going to go hands out, hands in to the center line, hands up. Out, circle in, circle out. Out, circle in, circle out. Hands out, and circle in, and out. Out, in, out, out, in, out. Give yourself a break, shake it out. Same thing, let's go down the middle now. So we're going to go hand circle out to the middle, hands in as I go down the middle, out as I go out to the side, hands in as I come up to the top. In, circle out, circle in. In, out, in. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, and relax. Check it out. Okay, let's go a little bit minimal, some more masculine style. Let's get men out here in 8th position, women just a little higher than that in 9th position. If you want to experiment between 8th and 9th, whether you're man or woman, it's up to you. But this is just an aesthetic that we associate with masculine and feminine, okay? So we're here. We're going to go out, in. Notice I'm cornered, and out. And then out, small circle, in, back to where I ended up. If I'm in 9th position, I'm here. A little more movement if you're in 9th position. E, out, in, out, out, in, out. I'm going to do 8th now. Minimum. E, out, in, out, out, in, out. And relax for a second. Shake it out. Okay. We're going to do some movement for bulería. Now, there's a movement, or yeah, I guess you could call it a movement called a destaque. And it's kind of like chiflón, but to me it's easier. In its simplest form, you're stepping on the planta and then pushing out the planta onto your golpe. So we'll be here, right? Now, if you have issues with your joints and that kind of thing, take it easy with this step until you feel good with it. Your hip joints should be nice and loose, and that'll absorb a lot of the shock of a movement like this, because it's sliding your body weight in space, and then it's all coming down on the golpe. Now, if you've had some experience with this, essentially, and again, be careful with this, it's as though I'm taking my foot up here and sliding out and catching myself on this leg, okay? Roy, I'll address your question here in a bit, okay? So again, the destaque now is here. Now, I can accept at least on the initial stages, just you going here, like a planta golpe sidewalk, right? You're going planta golpe, planta golpe. That's close to a destaque. A destaque, when it's understood properly, is here. Notice I'm sliding my feet out a little bit, okay? So we're gonna do a bullety exercise. So if we're thinking 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we're going. Right? 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah? 12, 1, sorry. 12, 1. It's hard to count and do it at the same time. 12, 1, 12, 1. Ba, 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 step, step. Ba. Step, step. All right. Now, if you're new at this step, let's keep the distance we're covering small. So just right here. Okay? If you've got a little more experience and you know how to do a destaque well, let's try to cover some distance. So we can go. Okay? So we're gonna go ta 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 pam pam ta 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 pam ta 4 times. Then from there, waltz step. And then we start it all over again, okay? So a full section would go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. 4. Waltz. Let's keep it here for the same amount of time. Then start again. And so on and so forth. Let's try with compás very slowly. So Roy asked about spinal rotation of the torso when we're doing those arm positionings in 8th position. Essentially, Roy, you're doing the same as you would in high 5th, but you're just making a smaller circle. So think of it as doing a minimal version of high 5th to where you're only moving in space a little bit. I don't know if that helps. Hopefully it does. But that's the general idea. So essentially, we associate a masculine style, more or less, these are generalities, but more or less with a being cool, right? Relaxing. And then pouring it on as we build things up. Okay, so we're going to go. Okay. So that's a way to incorporate hard and soft. Hard is here. Your attack is ba, da, ba, ba, ba. And then you bring it back down again with ba. Okay, so it's a nice little way of exercising intention. Because in flamenco, to build dynamic, sometimes you want to go over the top, you want to go full force, you want to go strong. Other times you want to take it easy. Especially, and what tells us what we ought to be doing? The music, the cante. If they're singing mellow, I don't want to be. And if they're singing something that has energy, I don't necessarily want to be too subdued. So think about that, okay? If you have a favorite flamenco track, definitely take it in, listen to it, imagine, pick a step and say, if I were doing this step to this track, would I do this step with a whole lot of punch or would I maybe subdue it a little bit? So to your point, Roy, for example, if I'm doing this and cornering, this is something that's a little more subdued, right? As opposed to, right? It's just different mood. Okay. There's another one I wanted to go over. It's a common step of bulería. I'm going to put together a little exercise. I think it's in one of my old school videos that I did like almost 10 years ago, but a common step in bulería is this kind of launching pad idea where you put your weight back on your planta, and from there, golpe, jab, okay? Pa, pa. That'd be 12, 1, and 2, okay? Now be careful again if you have joint issues. There's a way to do this without having to hit too hard or be too extreme. You could be real smooth about it, which is actually kind of nice sometimes. But pa, 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 yeah, boom, pa, pa, step, step. Important with this is peso. So I don't want to. I'm not trying to go off into orbit. If anything, I've got the intention to jump, but I'm actually throwing my weight. I'm sending my weight down into the ground. That's why I'm not necessarily getting airborne. See what I mean? So what we're going to do is we're going to go pa, 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 boom, pa, 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 pa. That's 12 and 1, 12, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So we're here. 12, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pa, 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 pa. Now, before you stylize it, if you've never done this step before, treat it like walking. If I were just walking it, I'm just stepping one foot in front of the other. If you know how to stylize it, you're going here and switching your weight out. So I'm going here, pa, 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 pa. It's like a little, very playful. Yeah, that's what bulería is all about. It's being playful. Farruquito, if you notice, he does this when he dances alegrías. It's a nice way to work your way in, okay? So that's the first part of it. We go pa, 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 pa. Okay? So the rest of the step would be here, pa, 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 down, taka, down, taka, down. Pa. This one you're actually going to put down your golpe. Do not step on your toe. Get out in front of me. Here, and then a turn. This is where that girding your loins, holding onto your lower abdominals, comes in handy. You're here. You're going to go. Ee. Now, in order to make that work, you got to hold on here. You got to bring your inner thighs squeezing together as you turn around. I go from here onto this foot, and I bring my other foot close. If you fudge a little bit and you're turning on both plantas, that's fine. Just make sure your feet stay together and your thighs keep your feet together by pressing together. So we go 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, E. Okay? That is 12, E. And you sail around, okay? From there, E, hop, hop. Now, I can go on one foot, lift this one up here, E. You're not really trying to make sound, you're giving a visual. Or you can do feet together. It's up to you. All right? So I went 12, 1, 2, right? Let's go through it that far, and then we'll try it with some compás. 12. All right. When I'm doing this, I like to bring my arm up, like you're running in slow motion. And then after the turn, keep those elbows high. And then when you do your double hop, then we're going to do a step that the Farruquito family, or the Farruco family, has made very popular as a remate. But we'll get there in a second. Let's go over that again. 12. Yeah? Let's try with some rhythm and then we'll put on the remate at the end. Again. 12, 7, 8, 9, 10. How do we do? So the last part of the step, we're here, right? We just did ba ba. I'm gonna go 7 position here, 7 position here, and then toe heel double, right? So I'm going here, here, then I bring my hands together, and you walk out of it. So if I'm facing you, I just did ba, I'm going 7th, 7th, ta 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 ta, and then I walk out of it. A lot of times people will go and they'll hit that really hard. That's kind of a, you can do that, but it's kind of considered to be corny to do that. Maybe once in a while when it makes sense in the music, but you hit here, ba, ba, and walk out of it. Nice and loud too. Then walk out of it. Okay? Now, this is just your positioning. Your arms are going to get a little bit looser when you actually do the step and you're doing it with a lot more intention. So like, you're going to put a little bit more oomph into it. But for right now, ba, 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 ta, ta, ta. Throughout the whole exercise, let's try to keep our elbows engaged out in front of us. So make sure you don't get into this, okay? Even when you're doing this step. Okay? Let's put it all together with compás. Nice and easy. Here we go. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do it again. One more compass of 12. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. E, pa, 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 boom, pa, 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 pa. And I just did the corny thing I told you not to do, but it's the idea. 12, let's do it again. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pa. Good. Now, let's talk about a little detail with the head. So when you're doing this kind of stuff, you're cornering more or less here, right, in opposition. So here, just a little bit. If you wanted to exaggerate, you could, right? Ba, ba, ba. That's up to you if you want to do that. But it depends on your intention. For now, just corner a little bit, right? So we did here. Just a little bit here, and then, now this is the part I want to talk about. When you're here, let your hips go first, then your body, then your head. See what I'm saying? So I go hips, and then the rest of me goes, okay? But I take out my glasses. If I do it correctly, they might fly off. Right? So that is going in slow motion. And if you want, you can trail your focus over this shoulder. So if I'm here, see what I'm saying? That way when I do the double hop and catch myself, focus is forward again. So let's try with the trailing head. We'll go from the top very slowly. 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10, 1, 2. Yeah, I almost fell, but that's the idea. So you have to be sharp with the head if you want to do that. It's got to get around in time. Hips, head, ba, ba. Then, ba, ba. Yeah? Let's try it all together. 12, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ba, ba, boom, ba, 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 ba. Boom. Ba, ba. Let's do it again. 12, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ba, 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 ba. One more time. Then we'll go on to one last exercise. 12. Another compás. Here we go. Ah. All right. So practice that. Ask questions about that. That's a tricky step, but it's a fun one. We'll review the 3 bullet steps. I got one more for you, an exercise. So, this is an old school combination that's just an exercise. It's good cardio, and it's good just for practicing positioning while moving with some real dynamic and intensity, okay? So we're gonna do kind of a grapevine step. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Then to get to the other side, you do a double golpe. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, keep going. 12, 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4. This is another one of those, covers a lot of space. If it's a new step for you and you need to take your time, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Notice I'm stepping in front first and then behind. So I step out, 12, front, back, double step. Ba, 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 ba. All right. If you want to add a little something, you can rotate the spine in different ways. So a typical way would be here, is to overshoot it as you cross forward, and then here, and then through. So what that looks like in practice, done very slowly, I'm going to keep basically my head focused over my left shoulder, and my body and my head will move in unison. So I'm going here. Ah, 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 all right. So this is a good trick this is a good one to learn how to corner really well, because I want to keep my connection to my left corner the same, even though my body is moving back and forth. I'll do it super slow. Notice here, then here, still over there, still there until I come through. Ah, then I switch to the right. Ah, ah, ah. Left. Keep it there. Is the idea. Okay? There's more to the step. Let's see if we get there. Do it with me a few times. Let's just drill it. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ah, 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 ah. Ease. Slower. Position, right, the whole time. Then I switch here. 7, keep it 7. Now my hips are also doing this, right? A little different than that Thanos exercise where we try to keep our hips on one corner. This one you're allowed to swing your hips back and forth. Okay, so the end to it, let me see if I remember. It's ah, 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 ah. Oh yeah, so the second part of it is here. I did 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Then I do it again. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Then here. Okay, that is 12, 1. So the knees on the 1. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 12, 1, 2, 4. Yeah, so there's no double step. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do it 2 times. So we do the first one 4 times, that one 2 times. Then we go back into the waltz. I'll give you a little recoge to throw in there, okay? Don't worry about getting all these steps right now. It's now committed to video for life in perpetuity, so you can always go back and watch anything you miss. Like I said, ask questions. Let's connect all that last step together, and then we'll do a review of the steps we put together. So we did 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's called a recoge. It's a step you usually do before you're going to do a desplante or bulería, or any desplante really. In this particular case, though, it's just going to be part of the exercise. And it's going to drill a recoge movement into your body, so you'll be able to use it for other things. Again, this is not necessarily a step I would use in a baile, although if there's a falsetto or something that it fits nicely to, who knows? Sometimes it's kind of fun to put something that's corny into it just to have fun. But let's put it all together again. Let's get it for continuity's sake. Let's do it again. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 5, 5, 5, 5. You don't have to do the palmas, but if you know how to do them, those are contratiempos. Let's do that one more time, then we'll review all three. 12, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 5. Almost blew it. 12, 1, 2, 3. Do it again. Sorry, almost blew it again. Rinse and repeat. Okay, let's go over the first two steps and then we'll do that one more. Then we'll call it a class. Exercise for bulería number 1, if I can remember, is rinse and repeat. That's step 1. Next step, this one you actually kind of can use for like a normal bulería step in a baile. That's number 2, right? Number 3 we just did. Let's do it all with compás. Number 1, 6, 7, 8, here we go. Number 1, number 2, 7, go, number 3. Grapevine. Alrighty, how do we do today? Hope you're enjoying yourself. Steeler you, good to see you too, you and Roy. Chime in with the chats, thank you very much for that. So yeah, we're just gonna keep having fun. Next week, maybe I'll look to expand the Tientos choreography we're working on right now. We have an opening llamada. We have an escovilla por tientos, which has a big close and calls in the second letra. Thank you, Roy. You guys have a great week. Like I said, if you love this class or you even like it, and you would like to contribute to cover the cost of studio rental and gifts to Arizona arts organizations, it would be greatly appreciated. I would do this if I had to pay for it even, but your help is, like I said, it's appreciated. Flamencos en todo el mundo, gracias. Un abrazo muy fuerte.